Good evening and welcome to Lower Frederick Township Board of Supervisors General Meeting for June 2nd of 2026. Let's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, all members of the board are in attendance this evening. Staff is present, Township Manager, our engineer, and our solicitor. The township meetings are recorded for the purpose of preparing the minutes, and the recording is destroyed after the minutes are approved. The meeting will be posted online on the Township YouTube channel. The link can be found on the Board of Supervisors page on the Township website. It is requested all persons wishing to speak before the board shall state their name, address, and the subject matter upon which they wish to speak for the record. In the interest of facilitating the business of the board, all persons addressing the board shall be limited to 3 minutes unless such time is extended by the chair for good cause. Individuals are requested to remain in their seats and to respect when other persons are speaking. The Board of Supervisors will provide a reasonable opportunity for citizens to comment on any non-agenda items after all agenda items have been addressed, but prior to the adjournment of the public meeting. Okay. Jason, I see we have a special guest presentation on it. Not here this evening. Okay. Okay. Up on our agenda first is our administrative actions with the meeting minutes for April 28th of 2026. Has everyone had a chance to see them? Does anyone have any questions or amendments? Okay. Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I will so move.
I will make the second. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Next up is our treasurer's report. Jason?
Okay, so this is the treasurer's report through the end of May. We received our 2026 liquid fuels contribution from the state in the amount of $154,443. We made payment number 1 of our 2026 for the sewer loan, which was submitted for approval at this meeting. Our tax collector, Josh Embry, will now be submitting our real estate tax collection via ACH instead of check. We received our first installment from the bus patrol fines that Chief had previously mentioned in his reports. The paperwork for the John Deere mini excavator financing has been submitted, and the township Venmo account was created and has been working fine so far.
I have a question, Jason.
Yes.
The 2026 liquid fuels, is that for the year?
Yes, that's a once a year thing.
One time, $154,443. Thank you.
It's just slightly below what we budgeted for. We you don't know till you kind of
Okay, thank you.
So. Do you want me to go through the balances or?
Yeah, I can read them off real quick if you want.
Oh, okay. No, I was asking if you wanted to.
No, you can do that. Yeah, the general fund, we have $699,441. General capital fund, $478,729. The hydrant fund is $15,642. Open space fund is $409,342. The CD for the open space is $107,354. The CD for the general fund is $1,401,837. Liquid fuels is $563,734. Developer escrows at $434,505. Sewer fund is $162,595. The sewer fund escrow is $53,851. Sewer capital fund is $481,971, and the CD sewer fund is $214,709.
Okay. So our total general fund revenue is $1.588 million, which is $28,000 over budget, down 3.2% from last year. General fund expense is at $1.176 million, which is $49,000 over budget, and that's up 5.7% from last year. The sewer fund revenue, we're at $528,932, which is $20,439 over budget. That's down 0.1% from last year. And our sewer expense is $489,507, which is $12,712 under budget, which is down 5.1% from last year.
Okay.
Go
Can,
sorry.
Go ahead.
Overall, the general fund net income is at $412,604, which is underperforming by $21,000. Revenue is over budget by 17.9% or $28,000. Our strongest performer is charges for services, and our weakest performers are in income tax, which is 5.3 or $27,000 under budget. Year to date, we've received 62.3 of our annual budgeted revenue. Expenses were under budget by 2.2% or $12,614. We've got several key drivers: contracted services, engineering, repair and maintenance, building, police insurance, health, police O&M, real estate, fire and ambulance, constant consultant, building zoning, legal planning, zoning, public works, repair and maintenance, vehicles, road and bridges, materials, and contracted mowing. We're seeing savings in our legal services, overall wages, and public works health insurance. So far, we've spent 40.3 of our annual budget expense. The general capital fund, net income of negative $19,387, which is $13,927 over budget. We received $33,923 in revenue, and we've expended $53,310, which is the PD police vehicle, PW trailer, public works trailer, and the Park and Rec's fundraisers expenses. Sewer fund, net income of $39,425, which is $33,150 over budget. Revenue is over budget by 4%. Sewer rent, sewer use charge is 1.9 or $9,360 over budget, and we haven't seen this in probably a year and a half, so excited about that. Expenses were 2.5% or $12,000 under budget, which is also very positive. We are on or under budget for most line items, with the exception of sewer engineering. Year-to-date budget progress, we've received 49.6% of our revenue, budgeted revenue, and 42.6%, we've spent 42.6% of our budgeted expenses. Sewer capital has not changed much other than for interest. That net income is $29,236, and there's been no expenses. Liquid fuels, we have a net income of $90,621, which is over budget by $18,000. That revenue number is obviously wrong. Year to date, we've received 95.1% of revenue, and 16.5% of it, we've spent 16.5% of our budgeted expenses. Open space, net income of $58,214, exceeding budget by $10,000. Revenue $58,685. We've only expended $471. So far, we've received 47.7% of revenue, and we've only spent 0.2% of budgeted expenses.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for Jason? Any comments?
I have a question and a comment. My question is the reason why the sewer fund is so low is because we just made our loan payment?
Yes.
Okay, great.
You're talking about the balance?
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
Yes. And my comment is, I wonder, and I'm just throwing this out, doesn't mean we have to talk about it or make a decision today, but I wonder if it would be more useful to do the detailed report every quarter, since the month by month doesn't necessarily tell us a lot. That's just my opinion. I'm just, again, maybe my colleagues can think about it. If anyone else has a thought, I'm just, like after we get kind of past page one.
I don't mind having at least where we are with year-to-date and the budget progress and the percentages. That seems helpful, yeah, for the month, but the rest of it I could see quarterly.
Yeah, I can get behind both what Marla has suggested as well as Noel, and as long as the information is available to residents that would want to see it, I think that would be a reasonable way to go.
So maybe the report part and cut out some of the detail for all the funds and maybe focus on just like the general fund and sewer fund?
Well, the funds, but, give it the bottom line on where we are percentage-wise. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, if you're in the sixth month and you spent 60% or you've taken in 60, that kind of gives you a good idea that we're it balancing.
Yeah, that's why, obviously, that's why I do it like that.
And then leave the other details for like maybe a quarter every 3 months.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds good.
All right. Any other questions? Any other comments? Okay, not seeing any. Is there a motion to pay the bills? The general fund is $273,677.42. The sewer fund is $301,601.47. The open space fund, $138. The general capital fund is $450. And liquid fuels is $19,948.81 for a grand total of $595,815.70. Is there a motion? I will make that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second Dan Orff.
Okay, Supervisor Orff makes the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Next up is our staff reports. Carol?
Thank you. First thing I want to tell you about is the chip seal, or pavement preservation. The chip seal was placed on May 19th and 20th. We want to thank the residents for their patience. The weather was unusually hot for May in Pennsylvania. Again. Yeah. In the heat, the surface of Mine Hill Road was already soft. So the roadmaster and I walked the road with the contractor. We determined that crack seal would yield better pavement preservation value for the condition of the road and reduce the risk of bleeding or failure. So we requested a quote for crack seal work from AMS and removed Mine Hill Road from the list of streets being sealed that day. The sweeping of the sealed streets, boy, there's a tongue twister. The streets that were sealed were swept today and yesterday. And fog seal is scheduled to be placed on select roads the week of June 15th. Those roads are Wilson, Williams, Overlook, Beth Anna, and Christina. Bavington Road pavement repairs got completed this month, thanks to Sachs and Sons. Those were pavement repairs and cross pipe replacement. Again, we thank the residents for their patience and their cooperation on that project. The Meng Road Act 537 special study is under the 30-day comment period right now. That ends June 7th. After the close of the public comment period and the consideration of the comments received, a resolution will be presented to the board to adopt the plan and submit the plan to DEP. Creekside Way, the base plan is drawn, calculations are being generated. We've modeled the existing conditions, and we're actually modeling now potential water quality improvements for that basin, so that work is underway. Farmview Estates home construction continues. Melbourne Hill, you might have noticed in the month of May, a Keystone Custom Homes trailer appeared on the site. There were lot signs placed on the lots with lot numbers. This week, the contractor has been excavating recently installed sewer main to repair some sags that were identified in the lines that I think you saw appeared in the sewer engineer's report. The Artisan Project, or Landis Tract, a review was issued May 19th regarding the status of that plan set. Subdivision for 115 2nd Avenue has provided another extension to August 30th for consideration of their plan. They need to resolve zoning issues before moving forward. And lastly, note that the Sylvie's gymnastic work that was approved last year has been initiated on site. The other items on my report are either no change since last report or just individual grading permits. But if there's anything else the board would like me to address, I'd be happy to do so.
Does anyone have any questions for Carol?
I do. What is fog seal?
So fog seal will be another emulsive coating that goes on top of the stone to lock it in. It's going to have a darker appearance than your chip seal. We did this last year on Rose Lane, and it was very favorably received by the residents.
Okay, thank you. So is this something we'll be doing going forward, or is it just on certain streets for certain reasons?
We're doing it on the lowest volume streets, the cul-de-sacs in particular, because they're most prone to problems with trash trucks turning at the end of the cul-de-sac.
Gotcha, yeah.
So this locks things in a little further.
Okay, thank you, Carol. Solicitors report?
Nothing.
Okay. On the township staff reports, Jason, I'm going to assume you're going to be doing all of them.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
All right, for the police report, for May, they had 353 calls for service, 16 traffic enforcement stops, 38 traffic citations. The police department hosted training for the Montgomery County Child Advocacy Program. This program focuses on children who have been victims of abuse, neglect, or child trafficking. Members of the police department attended training for infant and child death investigations. This training was presented by the Montgomery County Coroner's Office, Montgomery County Detective Bureau, and the Montgomery County District Attorney's Office. The Chief of Police attended the FBI Philadelphia Division Leadership Conference. This conference addressed use of force in America and lessons learned from Minnesota. George Pirro, who is a SAC retired from Miami, presented his interrogation of Saddam Hussein. The joint investigation between the police department and Pennsylvania, or PSP, is still ongoing at this time. During the burn ban that was in effect for the township, one violation occurred, and the property owner was cited accordingly for this violation. I provided the Board of Supervisors traffic study speed report for Springmount Road. Multiple complaints of speed were received by the PD. Average speed was 31 miles per hour. 87% compliance rate with 39% vehicles slowing down once observed the speed board sign. And as Chief likes to do at the end of his report, any resident wishes to make a police report but does not want to call 911, it is requested by the police department to call 610-635-4300. This number is a direct number to the police dispatch. Okay, all right, so the fire company report. For May, they had 22 total calls. They've had 96 total year to date. 10 of their calls in May were in Lower Frederick. Hours of service, they had 7 hours and 36 minutes of incidents, 8.5 hours of training, and 12 hours of events. Year-to-date hours, they've had 54 hours of incidents and 289 hours of training, events, and admin. The month of May was vehicle rescue training, truck checks, and IAR review. I did see they got to utilize our old police vehicle for that vehicle rescue training. Community events, escorted PV Color Guard to PV High School, tent setup for Parks and Rec, standby at Harleyville Fire Company number 89, and memorial for William Patterson, 66, Perkiomen Fire Company. Comments, Lower Frederick, along with the assistance of Buffer Salford Fire Company, did a vehicle rescue demonstration for Fire Company. President, Township Police Officers, and Supervisor Tom Slater from Schwenksville Borough. Also attending was the Porter family, who donated the other vehicle to the fire company. Lower Frederick Fire Company also responded to a building fire in Upper Providence Township. The Plymouth Ambulance summary report, they had 13 calls for service in May. They've had 89 total year-to-date in Lower Frederick. In their primary coverage area, they had 61 calls and 322 calls year-to-date for their primary coverage area. And mutual aid, which is outside their primary coverage area, they had 34 calls and 162 year-to-date. Public Works report. The Public Works Department performed the following in addition to routine operations. They finished the storm inlets in the area of the chip seal project. They completed the annual MS4 training. They're managing the mower contractor. They mowed the open space meadow at Cuddy Park and behind the township office. Patch paved roads prior to chip seal. Patch paved Zieglerville Road and Main Street at the corner where they meet. Installed the buoy at Foy Park. Painted speed lines for the police department, received multiple calls for tree cleanup for storms. They started mowing throughout the township, and they completed 5 sewer inspections. I do not have a sewer report for this month. The zoning report for May, and that's not April, They received 7 building and 10 zoning permits for a total of 17. They approved 2 building and 5 zoning permits for a total of 7. And 6 building and 2 zoning permits were closed out for a total of 8. We issued 10 burn permits, which is interesting considering we're in a burn ban for most of May. We did 7 resale UNOs, 9 road occupancy permits, which are all PICO projects, 1 driveway permit and 2 pavilion rentals, and received 10 on-lot pumping reports.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for Jason on any of these reports? Okay, not seeing any, we'll move into our township boards and commission reports. Is there someone here from the EAC? Gary?
Good evening. The EAC met on May 12th, and the majority of the meeting was spent discussing a draft lighting ordinance that the, I'm sorry? Yes. A draft lighting ordinance that the Planning Commission had requested that we prepare. It is based on a model by the Pennsylvania Outdoor Lighting Council, and it would establish requirements that would achieve the 5 principles of responsible outdoor lighting that was referenced in the resolution that we proposed in the fall. It's important to note that the intent and effect of the ordinance is not to prohibit outdoor lighting or mandate inadequate levels of illumination, but to establish standards that when outdoor lighting is installed, it provides effective illumination for its intended purpose, and that is done in a manner that minimizes impact on wildlife, human health, safety, and does not create nuisances. The Birdtown Committee reported on the bird walk that was held on May 9th. The Single-Use Plastic Bag Committee reported that they had completed their assessment of area single-use plastic bag ordinances. We had been attempting to get Wawa and CVS to put up signs that we made to just remind people to bring in their own reusable bag. Wawa was pretty much unresponsive. They said they had to refer us to corporate, and corporate never returns any contacts that we had with them. So we conducted a review of ordinances, and the committee had recommended that we move forward, and we would like to ask the board if they would like us to work on an ordinance and present it to you for consideration.
Is that your ask this evening?
Yes.
Okay. How does anyone feel, does anyone else feel anything about that?
Would it affect it would affect every business in the community, so it wouldn't just be the Wawa and the CVS?
Yes. We went to them because they're probably the largest users of single-use plastic bags, and we just developed these signs for them to just remind customers to bring in their own bag to try and assist in cutting down the use of the single-use bags.
I am personally in favor of it, but I think what would be useful is to see if there are other municipalities similar to us that have done it and how they've done it. So if there's something out there we can look at. I know some really big municipalities, I think Upper Merion has one, other places, we're not really like them. So I think that would be helpful for me
For
to see if there are other similar municipalities who've done it and what their experience has been, and maybe even reach out to their folks and say how to, I think it would be helpful to have some model to look at.
Something like apples to apples.
Okay. I'm not sure which municipalities that they
I don't
committee
know
looked
either.
into, so we'll check into that and report back next
Okay.
month.
Okay.
Okay. New Britain? Okay, thank you. And finally, this month's Did You Know is a link to a website with energy-saving tips to use when cooling your home in the summer. That's all we have.
Okay. Does anybody have questions for Gary?
It's more of a comment, and maybe I'm addressing this towards our solicitor, is one way to help some of the outdoor lighting is to have a motion sensor. So like on my garage, I have a motion sensor light, so when I come home, the light goes on, and it's on for 30 seconds, and it turns off. I mean, is that something that we can, like for new buildings, we can put in our code? Has anyone done that?
Yes, I've seen that in the zoning ordinances, lighting provisions, that outdoor lights are required to have motion sensors instead of being on all the time.
So, I mean, it would be hard to enforce it, but could you grandfather it in? So if you're going out to get a new light, or if you're doing a new building, you'd be required to do it?
If someone was, obviously if they're replacing the light bulb, no, but
Yeah.
if they're replacing the light fixture, yes, they would have to bring it up to code.
I don't know if that's something we can consider. I mean, I know in my neighborhood, there are people who leave their lights on all the time, all night. But it's hard to change people's habits.
Marla, just a quick comment. In certain areas of the township, that might not be. If I had motion sensors on the outside of my house, the lights would be on pretty regularly because of the number of deer that like to come literally up to my back door and find things to eat. And in certain other areas, so you might have to have some qualifiers on it, because in the more rural wooded areas of the township, it would be a nuisance more than a benefit.
This is good feedback for you, I take it? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Gary.
Okay, just want to also point out, at the recommendation of the planning commission, the ordinance we're developing is to go into the saldo. So it would only apply to the newer development. Although
Development, okay.
we would still retain we're proposing to still retain the existing nuisance provisions that we have with some modification.
Okay. Thank you, Gary.
I did have a question, I'm sorry.
Oh,
As
yeah,
far
I'm
as
sorry.
it's okay, the reusable bags,
Yes,
can you explain, are you proposing that the local shops, and because I'm thinking like VMU, when the VMU starts to come in, that they not use at all, or to just post that sign as far as like encouragement?
we're proposing that single-use plastic bags to be prohibited in the township, as is done many other locations, but we'll look into comparable municipalities.
Okay.
Okay. Up next is the Open Space Committee.
Yeah, just so people know, it's not my intention to speak on the open space. I would rather Mike or Vicky do it, but both of those individuals who are on the open space committee are indisposed every Tuesday night. I think Vicky works, and I think Mike's got his kids off at an activity. But we did participate, the Open Space Committee participated at the Earth Day event. So despite the rain, there are a number of people there who came by and visited. And let's see, and other than that, we have some very positive news coming to us with respect to getting some additional members to the Open Space Committee. And we hope to have some names to bring that will come forward to the township, hopefully within the next 3 to 6 weeks. And that's about it.
Oh, that's good news. Thank you, Dan. Does anybody have questions for Dan? Okay, up next is Park and Rec.
Okay, can you guys, yeah, you can hear me. I can hear myself. Okay, so May was a very busy month for us. We had 2 major spring events. We had Love Your Mother Earth on May 9th, and then we had our adult prom fundraiser this past weekend. We also had our June meeting last night, and during that meeting, we discussed lessons learned. Ugh, that noise is terrible. Right.
It's a little staticky.
Okay.
There you
Maybe
go.
Okay. So we did post-event reviews. We think that overall both events were good events. We did come up with ways to improve event attendance in the future, and then also advertising, because that is always a challenge in getting people out to the events. Both of them did have fundraising components to them. For the Love Your Mother Earth, we raised $390 through plants and book sales, we were excited about that. And then same thing for the adult prom fundraiser. We generated about $900 in net proceeds. And what this does is, with our combined fundraising efforts for both of those events and our business donation letters, we have about $6,300 in our capital fund, and that's going to be used to support future park improvement projects. So pretty excited about that. So thank you, everybody that supported it and came out and have contributed. Summer programming. We are working on our 2026 concerts. We have 2 concerts planned. Our first one is in July. We have these nice flyers that are going to be going up. And Shabby Road is the band, and then Rita's Water Ice is going to be the vendor that's at the concert. We're working on planning Movie on the Mountain. We're trying to see what other townships are wanting to partner with us. And also, Spring Mount isn't necessarily the best place to have it this year, because they did some renovations in the parking lot. So we are looking for an alternative location for that event. We discussed at our meeting last night several of the different park improvements that we're looking to do. And then we're just following up with the staff on implementation timelines. And then at our July meeting, we're going to be going over all of our priorities. We're starting to do that on a quarterly basis so that we have an idea of what we want to keep and what we don't want to keep on the priority list. And then finally, similar to open space, we have some interest in folks joining the committee. So at the next meeting, I believe there will be an approval for someone that's applied, and then we have 2 interested people to fill the final 2 spots. So that's it.
Oh, good news all around. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Katie. You guys did a phenomenal job.
And I just want to add a comment. Let me get out of the way of the flowers. I feel like I'm at a Thanksgiving table. If people want to make donations to Park Board, they can do it anytime, any day of the year. It doesn't have to just be at an event, because we now have a township Venmo account.
Okay, terrific. Next up is the Planning Commission.
It was canceled for May.
That's true. Okay, never mind. Planning Commission was canceled. We can now move on to our regular business. First up is the Zoning Hearing Board application for 204 Swamp Creek.
You want me to explain my earlier email? Okay. So in reviewing this application in preparation for tonight's meeting, it appeared to me that I don't believe any of the 4 variances requested are necessary. In part, what the problem is the definition of what it means of a yard, of a front yard, a side yard. And this is a common confusion and problem I've come across. But what you have to be careful is it something being prohibited from the yard entirely, or just the required yard? And the required yard is that minimum, and in this case, in the R2, it's 50 feet for the front yard, it's 35 feet for the side yard, it's 50 feet for the rear yard. And if you read through the ordinance, it's clear to me that the prohibitions as far as putting a structure such as this carport in the location being provided it's not prohibited in front of the building, it's prohibited in the front yard. It's not prohibited to the side of the principal building, the house, it's prohibited in the required side yard. So the required side yard is 35 feet from the side property boundary. The proposed carport is over 50 feet away from that, so it's not in the required side yard. Likewise, the front yard is like 130 feet long. This, the carport is probably 100 feet from the road. Once again, it's not within the 50-foot required front yard. So, the 3 variances to section 18, absolutely, because those sections specifically say required yards. The variance to section 24 is a little more nebulous. In my mind, the language is ambiguous, and when language is ambiguous, it has to be interpreted in the least restrictive way towards the landowner. So in this case, the least restrictive way would be saying you're allowed to put it in front of your building, you're just not allowed to put it in the required front yard. In other words, if you're putting the carport in the building envelope, it's okay. So that's my opinion. Obviously, the zoning officer had a different opinion, directed this person to apply to the zoning hearing board. If you want, if you are fine with this, I can reach out. I can talk to staff tomorrow, and I can reach out to Joe Cools, the zoning hearing board solicitor, to say, hey, this is the way I read it. And then, we can either, just, have them withdraw the application because it's unnecessary. They can go forward with it if Joe and or the zoning officer don't agree with me. There's a various different ways. This is a long way of saying, I don't think you should take any position on this because I don't think there's an application for you to take a position on.
Okay, exactly how many variances were being asked for? 4?
There's 4, yeah.
And you believe 3 don't apply?
Oh, I know 3 don't apply, and the 4th is a little more questionable, but I still strongly believe that one doesn't apply either.
Is there a time constraint on the construction of this carport?
Not that I know of.
I speak for myself that I think maybe you should go back to the zoning code officer or Joe Cools and have a conversation with them about those items.
That will work if the rest of the board is fine with that.
Yeah, I think that's the right course of action. And then, obviously other steps will be taken once we know the result of your conversation.
Yeah. And then since we're on the topic of the zoning hearing board, I have forwarded you, a couple of emails from Mr. Stokes. He has reduced the size of his project so that is now proposing impervious surface under 38%, which is still about 5% more than the limitation. I just want to make sure that you still want me to attend and oppose this application at the zoning hearing next week. I'm assuming by your lack of response to my emails, that's the case, but I just want to be doubly sure.
I do. I think going down 1% or 1.5% is not enough.
I think he should be focusing his efforts on going to the zoning hearing board and pleading his case there. If he has more evidence that reduces it some more, or whatever the case may be, but I would still prefer you to go.
Okay.
Yeah, likewise, I think you should go and you should oppose it as we requested. Because
Well, unless the board takes a different vote, that's
Yeah.
the direction I'm running under.
Yeah, because as far as I can say, the reductions were not substantive to warrant a change of course of action.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay. Did you want to speak to this?
Yeah, I just want to mention that the sign that is posted on our front yard, Route 204 Creek Road.
Okay, you are the other zoning hearing. Okay. Hi.
Can you get up and speak at the mic? I'm sorry. Yeah.
Ruth Heil, 204 Swamp Creek Road. I just want to mention that the sign that is posted in our yard does not reference the accessory structure 24, the 24 section.
It only lists the other three variances?
Correct.
Well,
So in your conversations,
Okay, yes.
someone's determined that that isn't necessary?
that, in my mind, that's very problematic. So yes, I will bring that up.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And if you, once my conversations have concluded, if you don't hear back from myself or from Jason, please call the township before you get ready to go, because, it could be we tell you this is not necessary and just file for your permits.
I am going to be submitting a request to postpone.
Okay.
So we have a little more time.
Yes.
I guess I will not be here that whole week, so.
Okay, but well, hopefully,
I'll still
hopefully
submit
we'll
that
have an
request.
answer for you before then. You don't have to worry about it at all.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to our next item for business this evening, is authorization to crack seal Mine Hill Road.
So that comes to me. So in my engineer's report, I mentioned that we delayed putting chip seal on Mine Run Road, Mine Hill Road. It's in my report, too. I'm doing it. Pardon me. We delayed putting chip seal on Mine Hill Road because we were concerned that it was still had a good bit of oil from when it was chip sealed last time, and we didn't want to have a bleeding problem like we experienced last year on Gerloff Road. And we're recommending instead that crack seal be done. Crack sealing is significantly less expensive than chip seal. So AMS, the company that did our chip seal work, has quoted a price for 1 full day of crack seal work, which is a low-cost preservation technique. The quote includes all equipment, materials, and labor to crack seal roads. That includes the air compressor and blowpipe to clean the cracks, the tar pot or melter, the wand, the rubberized seal material, labor, and drivers to complete the work. So this would be set up so that the crew would first apply crack seal on Mine Hill Road, then continue on other streets identified by the engineer and the roadmaster as other excellent candidates for crack seal, and we'll provide those to the crew in the order of priority until that workday is completed. So that quoted price is a per gallon price, and that's quoted as a total of $9,522.50. So that's below any bidding thresholds. If the proposal is accepted now, the township would be put on the schedule for September or October of this season.
Okay, I'm reading here that we haven't received an invoice from AMS yet, so we don't know what the savings are to have this done as opposed to the chip and seal. But I would imagine there's still some savings.
There's absolutely savings. We had a projected cost for that road of over $18,000 to chip seal it. So
Okay,
we're
so-
certainly saving money, yes.
That's like 50%, yes, okay. Does anyone have any questions? Any comments?
A quick question, Carol. In the paperwork you gave us, which was great, goes into explaining the sealing process.
Yes.
You have a picture here that if, I can't imagine our residents will ask us if the road ends up looking like a jigsaw puzzle like that. Do they?
does.
It will.
It
It will, yeah. yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to
Yeah, there'll
forewarn
be
this forearm.
dark
so-
stripes.
Yeah,
Where there are cracks today, there will be dark stripes tomorrow. Yep.
okay, so that's the way it's going to look. So
Right.
it'll be good for the staff to probably know that that's the way it's supposed to look.
Correct.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Are there any more questions for Carol?
So is this better than just simply waiting till next year and tar and chipping it?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So this is a process that's obviously less intense than the chip seal. But if we get those cracks sealed, we'll have some years to go before we have to tend to that road again. And so we would start with the crack seal with that road. And then the roadmaster and I, before we have AMS here, will look at we're going to look at other roads that we had marked out in our inspection reports would be ideal for crack seal. And we're going to focus specifically on the roads that are lined up for chip seal in the next 2 years to see if there are any other situations where we could save a couple of dollars by doing crack seal this round instead of chip seal.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, terrific. Okay, so we can move on. There is a motion on the table this evening to accept the bid from Asphalt Maintenance Solutions LLC in the amount of $9,522.50 for the crack sealing of Mine Hill Road and further authorize the township manager to sign all necessary paperwork to complete the project. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Supervisor Sachs makes the motion. Is there a second?
I will second.
Supervisor Hexter makes the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Public Works request, dump truck purchase authorization. I think this evening we're going to be focusing on the financing portion of this.
Yes, so I just wanted to let the board know, RJ was able to get the third quote for one of the 5-ton trucks. So now you have 3 of each. Also keeping in mind that that's the only current quote we have, so however the board chooses to move forward, we are going to have to get an updated quotes. I think before the financing, or I guess I could do the financing first, I was wondering if the board would be able to kind of decide which truck it wants so that we can kind of nail down the quotes and on top of that with the financing.
I think the Public Works Department had a preference.
We would like to go with the 39,000 GVW 10-ton truck.
The bigger truck?
Yes,
Okay,
gives us more hauling capacity. More hauling capacity.
okay.
That'd be the 10-ton truck.
The 10-ton,
10-ton.
okay.
But which one is it? Is it the Peterbilt, the Western? The Peterbilt, gotcha, okay.
So the quote that you got, the third quote that you got, RJ, is it in line with the quotes that we do have? Do you think there's a benefit to getting some updated quotes?
The quote that was received today it's right in the line with all the other ones that we previously got in
Is it higher or
January.
lower than what the Peterbilt?
Well, the quote that I received today was for the non-CDL trucks, the 26,000 pound, just so we had 3 of quotes of them,
Okay,
that size truck. But as far as all of the quotes, non-CDL truck and CDL required truck, they were all pretty close together. So.
okay.
So let's scratch right now, let's scratch the 5-ton trucks and stick with the 10-ton.
Okay.
So people aren't confused.
Right, so we'll just stick with the 10-ton. You have quotes, I believe, from like October of last year? You have
They
CoStar's
should all be
quotes
from January.
from January?
Yeah.
Okay.
January is when we worked on getting updated quotes for this year.
Do you believe that they might be significantly different in cost and value at this point? Do you think there's a change within 6 months? What do you think, Terry?
I wouldn't say significantly. No. I mean, I'm sure some stuff has changed, but I wouldn't say significant.
I would just be wondering if it was going to be higher so that we wouldn't be getting quotes if we were going to go with something where it's significant, maybe a little bit more expensive than we thought.
Right.
I think we should get an updated
You want to get some updated quotes? That's fair enough. Stick with the 10-ton?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You want?
Anyone else have any questions on this? On the choice?
So let me just reiterate so I understand. So we're going to get 3 revised quotes just so that we have updated quotes for the 6-wheel 10-ton trucks, right?
10-ton, yes.
Yeah, and from that, we'll probably, assuming there's no big surprises, we'll probably wind up going with the recommendation of our group.
Yes.
Okay.
Does anyone have anything to add to that?
I do. While we're waiting for the updated quotes, can we talk about the financing? So when we get them, we don't have to do that again?
We're going to talk about that next.
Great.
Yes. Okay, guys, thank you very much. I appreciate your input. Jason, do you want to speak to this financing? I mean,
Yes.
I've had a chance to, I have my favorites, but then I see the Fulton Bank, which I think you should probably give a broader explanation of
So,
Fulton Bank, yeah.
so far I've been in contact with 4 banks. What is in front of you tonight, I pulled out 2 of the quotes so that you're dealing with apples to apples. One is from Univest, one's from Fulton Bank. Based on the last conversation we had on the financing, the board wanted to take a look at 0% down, 10%, 25%, 50%, and how that may impact either the percentage rate or certainly the annual payment. And that was also to look at either a 5 or 7-year term. So finding, and I went with the bigger number as far as the 255, 526. And so for Fulton Bank, the current quote, and this is, and I think what Noel is referencing, if we gave, or if we had money deposited with Fulton Bank or we're using them, we would be able to lower our percentage rate from 5.58%, if they had $500,000 from us, to 5.3. If they had $1 million, it'd be 5.15%, which is, I thought was just an interesting thing through my information gathering. So what I gave you guys is based on the 5.58%, as if we didn't have any, if we weren't banking with them.
Right, so we have 5.58% with 0, 10, 25, and 50% down at a 5 and a 7-year term, and then that's with Fulton Bank. And then with Univest, same breakdown, but the interest rate is 5.15%.
For 5 years.
So what you're saying is if we were to basically move our money to Fulton Bank, we could get that 5.15% with a deposit relationship of 1 million plus escrows above.
But why would we do that if Univest is giving us a lower rate anyway?
Well, Univest is the one that's giving us the lower rate. Fulton's giving us the 5.58. However, if we had established a banking relationship with them and moved money to them, it's a deposit relationship of $1 million plus some of the details they show above, we can get that 5.15%.
But we can get it at Univest without doing that, so why would we? That's what
I
I'm
think there's more to
understanding.
the story that maybe Jason wants to clarify.
Any other, and what?
Yeah, because it seems like
There's some other
we're missing
advantages.
something here.
Currently, our escrows are with Univest. We have like 40+ separate bank accounts for those escrows. I'd like an escrow suite that was one escrow account with sub-accounts. From an administrative aspect, it's kind of a nightmare. I still have to go to the bank to make deposits to open those accounts. It's a little more old school. One thing with the Victory, who's our main current bank, which the board is aware was bought up by QNB, will be transitioning. So I'm cautiously optimistic that won't change because Victory's been outstanding from what I can tell. But as far as the Univest side, it's something I was looking to talk to the board about probably in a few months. But since I've been talking to banks, I'm also shopping in the meantime. So
You might want to clarify the government portion of it.
So one of the things with some of these banks, they have full-blown government kind of divisions, which cater to government entities. I've had banks at my previous spots that treat us more like a business, and sometimes it's not as conducive. I had an account that I had to set up. For instance, I had an account set up that for a loan payment through the state that was paid monthly. It was kind of a pass-through. QNB closed the account on me because it didn't have activity for 23 days and nobody called me. So then I had to reset that up and stuff. So my experience with banks that don't have an actual government division has not been great. And as far as Victory goes, they are business and government oriented. So they have been accommodating. We were able to remote deposit. They have a courier. Once again, I want to try them, see how that transition goes. But certainly, I don't think it hurts to have more than one bank. And one of the things with Fulton, because I wouldn't have been aware of this, that when you're doing banking, you're able to get better interest rates on loans, which of course is, something I would imagine we're going to continue to look at as we think about how we're, paying for stuff. So, so it's a little cart before the horse, but I did find that to be very interesting.
Well, since we're looking to make a decision to purchase this truck soon, how soon if we want to kind of link these things together, could you make the transition? Could you do it in the next month?
That would be my question.
So understanding that the finance can be done after that, I think the big thing is get the truck ordered. I can work on the financing. I can work on the bank stuff. I mean, we do have money. If the board would be interested, we could move around to accommodate based on.
So my question now is, we don't have to actually finance this until we actually get the truck.
Correct. So we have time to make a decision because.
So these rates might technically change anyway.
So one of the things I did in talking to the banks, we're not going to want to dawdle. We want to lock in, but
Okay, lock it right
there-
in, okay.
it's almost like it almost would get treated like a drawdown.
Gotcha.
So yeah, as you know, the market can be volatile. So we're not going to want to wait too long. But I can kind of nail some more things down, especially now, like understanding that the board's interested in the 10-ton truck, and then kind of do more exploring if we want to make any kind of jump or anything. Like I said, I wasn't expecting to do that, but
It's an opportunity that just presented itself.
yes.
So I'd like to get some feedback from other members of the board on what they think about transitioning over to Fulton Bank.
So this is just for information, because I'm looking at our solicitor, it's not on the agenda. Can we discuss this?
It certainly can be discussed, but
We can't make a decision.
unless you wish to do a motion to amend the agenda to add this discussion and then an actual vote.
Well, we have some time, so do you want to put it on the next agenda for the work session in June? And we'll have some more time, you'll have some more info. you'll have more info.
So just one other question about so it sounds to me like we may want to move away from Victory after their buyout because they're not as friendly as they used to be.
Victory currently is, and I don't know, it would make sense why Q&B bought Victory if they didn't have a government division and Victory does that. It's just I've had very little contact from Q&B about how this, we got a transition pack at the end of last week. I've got to go through that. We haven't really had any other contact other than I was told back in January that, hey, this is probably, going to happen. So that's why I say I'm cautiously optimistic that it won't change. What I do know is we're going to have different account numbers and stuff like that. So that's something we're going to have to do no matter what. We have a lot of ACH. We have a lot of things tied, like state payments and our franchise payment. So there's a lot of things tied to Victory. So
We're going to go through this.
we're going to be going through no
It's
matter
going to
what.
be painful no matter what.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've dealt with Fulton Bank before, have we not?
Maybe in the past, not since I've been here, but they're certainly a known bank, and
They do have a government division.
They have a, and they responded very quickly, as did Univest. I mean, Univest got me, they turned these quotes around very quickly. So, but so far, I like what I hear. They say they want our business, and so I like I said, I'd be interested in maybe exploring that further, but.
But it's also possible that the new bank that took over Victory might also give us a good rate. So is that?
Yeah.
Could you reach out and see what they would proffer?
I did reach out and they didn't respond. So I'm in this
Okay.
couple week period, I'm going to reach back out to Victory and say, hey guys, because not all banks do government or commercial loans. It is more of a niche thing. So I am aware of that. So that's kind of part of the timing, because I obviously, it'd be nice to be able to get a loan for a bank we're banking with.
Okay, so in the meantime, we're going to wait for more quotes, and we're going to wait for you to get more info, and we'll put this on the next agenda to have a more comprehensive discussion.
And in the meantime, you guys can see the breakdown that you guys requested based on,
Yes,
to kind of give an idea.
that would be great, thank you.
The only comment I'd have is you should take into consideration where these places are geographically, because Univest is physically close to us. I don't know, the nearest Fulton, from what I see, is like 10 miles away, which doesn't sound like much, but.
I know I've been here for 3.5 years and I've never had to visit Victory Bank except for once. So Univest I've already visited multiple times. So part of it is how they,
That's what I was pointing out.
I like the remote aspect just because it's,
Okay, moving on to the next agenda item, we have Public Works request, line striping authorization.
all right, so this was tabled at the work session to allow us to get a third quote from A1. We have been unable to get that quote, and Public Works would like to move forward. Based on Peter's recommendation, we are allowed to move forward on a project where we can show that we've attempted to attain at least 3 quotes for a project. As I pointed out last meeting, for our 2026 budget, we have budgeted $24,150 for line striping of all township roads. So what you have in front of you is 2 quotes. I don't know if you have anything to add, Tommy, to.
You don't have anything extra to add? Okay. Okay. We have 2 quotes. Let me do it. Let's see here. So the total for Guide Mark is $24,376, and the one for Alpha Space Control, is that Alpha? Yeah, Alpha Space Control Company is $22,859.27. Does anyone have any questions, anything they want to ask, anything they want to add?
Are you familiar with Alpha Space? They do good work. Have we used them before?
We have not. That was a company we got quotes from when Mark was here.
Okay.
I've used A1 and I've used Guidemark in the past.
And A1 didn't get back to you?
They did.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised.
Okay.
I know in talking to Tommy, if we move forward with Alpha Space, we probably wouldn't look at doing the whole township. We'd probably take a portion and kind of see how that goes. So that way we're not,
I'm sorry, say that again?
if we went, we have used Guidemark before, but if we move forward with Alpha, Tommy and I have talked about maybe doing a smaller project and not do all of our roads, just to see
how they do.
see how they work, see how they communicate. So that way we're not, spending $22,000 on this.
That's a good idea. My only other concern is that they're so close to the formal bidding. I'd be
Yep.
afraid that we would be going over, that like 10% contingency. These things usually kind of go over a little, or no?
No, I mean, if they give us a quote and it's a real quote, it's,
We're not
and
gonna get
everyone believes like this is what the price is gonna be. If something comes up and all of a sudden we're at 24,000, no, it's not like, oh, we gotta stop and we have to rebid. No, we're fine. It's-
Okay,
Yeah.
all righty. Well, I like your idea of going and seeing what Alpha's work looks like before you guys want to make a decision. Anyone else have a comment on that?
So what would that look like? They would do, say, a third of the township, and you would say, that looks great, can you do the other 2/3 now? How would that work?
You're going to have to talk to them about that,
Yeah.
okay? You just can't,
There'll be a new quote.
you just can't do that. You're going to have to talk to them and see if they will accept that.
Okay, so there's
Okay. So Jason, give them a call and talk to them and see if they will do that.
Okay, I know
Or you
we're,
could say you want to do a portion now, and then just saying, we would do a portion a little later.
Yeah, I mean, strictly speaking, if we're approaching them, we only want them to do a third. If that, doing a third of the township is over the telephonic big price, which was what, 12.9, I think? Something, then we have to go out and get 3 quotes for doing a third of the township. We have to redo it because you've changed the scope of the project. So, I mean, if you want to set it up where they mobilize twice and they come in now and do a third so you guys can, assess it. But, at the same time, you're gonna be signing a contract to do the whole thing. So unless they really mess it up, you're not gonna be able to get out of that contract.
Here's the biggest thing, they're coming from Chambersburg, where.
They're not gonna want to come twice.
That's.
Okay.
No, I don't. But
maybe I
from Chambersburg is, out near Harrisburg.
Yeah.
So they're, and Guide Mark is right here in Harleysville.
So
This
it
might
sounds
be a
like maybe we
silly-
try guard mark.
This might be a silly suggestion, but I mean, every business has reviews. Is there a way that we can kind of do something like that as far as with the other townships that they have done?
I can try and get references.
I mean, I would,
Yeah, you can get references, and if we don't like them, we can not give them the contract. Absolutely, yes.
I think that would be more beneficial than having to have 1/3 of our budget go towards, this, and then we don't like it, and then we have to go through 3 more quotes just to finish the project.
What if we awarded the bid conditioned on, can we do that, award the bid conditioned on positive references?
Well, there's really, is there a time frame that the price is good for?
Oh, I don't have the quote in front of me.
Okay. Unless there's a time frame on the quote, I would say, don't award anything. Let's try to get references over the next couple of weeks, and then, we can award it at the next meeting.
Yeah, the Alpha's valid, proposal is valid for 90 days. Guide mark doesn't.
Term and conditions, proposal valid for 90 days.
Yeah.
Guide mark, I'm not seeing.
So when's the date of the proposal on?
That was 5/7.
Okay, so we got time.
We do have time. I think part of it was making sure we get on the schedule this year too.
Yeah. I guess one of the concerns I have is the company that we've used before is right in Harleysville, is that right? Or where did you say? It was nearby, right?
Yes.
And we're talking roughly a $1,500 difference.
Under the bidding rules, we have to give it to the low bidder.
Okay.
This is not something where we can say, oh, we like these guys better. Unless we have a good reason not to give it to the low bidder, we
Okay.
have to give it to the low bidder.
Yeah, I mean, I am concerned about the fact that they're coming all the way from Chambersburg. I mean, but I think let's take a look at, Crystal's suggestion.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Seeing about reviews is probably the best way to get some assessment because.
Yes, I mean, if we talk to other townships and all, we get like 5 townships, or whatever number, we get a bunch of townships that all say, these guys are horrible. Yes, that could then be a reason to say, they're not a responsible bidder, therefore we can reject their bid.
Can you get that info together so we can get this moving along for you?
Yes.
That'd be great. Thank you, Tommy. I appreciate
I
that.
can ask a
Thank you.
couple big contractors like Ekman and them.
Okay.
And find out tomorrow. I deal with them a lot.
And
Matter of
that would
fact,
work also.
You'll
I
get
talked
that
to
answer
one of them
faster.
today.
Okay. All right, wonderful. Okay, next up on the agenda is the approval for open space appraisal for Open Space Committee number 62.
So as we've done previously, we don't disclose what the properties are. As Noel said, this would be OSC property number 62. I'd be looking for a not to exceed of 5,000. I do have to still reach out to, as this just came down kind of yesterday. I do need to get a quote from Indian Valley, but generally speaking, we would be under that $5,000 threshold. And what would happen is the Open Space Committee would then ratify the board. If the board would chooses to move forward, they'd ratify this at their next meeting. This was more of a timing thing, which is why we're kind of doing this in reverse and not basing it on a recommendation. This is what I can say is this is a property that has been the township's very interested in.
I don't have any issues with that.
In hindsight, I wish we had had an executive session to maybe discuss this a little bit, but at this time, I don't have an objection.
I don't have objection.
I don't have one either.
So we need to make the motion?
Yes, so the motion before us this evening is move to authorize the funding for the cost of the appraisal for the OSC property number 62. I'm assuming it's going to be with Indian Valley, is that correct?
That's who I'd be reaching out to, yes.
Okay, so Indian Valley appraisal, not to exceed $5,000. Can I get a motion?
Also move.
Supervisor Hexter makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Supervisor Sachs makes the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. The next item on our agenda this evening is approval for stormwater O&M for 6 Marion Street. This is a standard agreement prepared by Peter. This agreement is necessary for the applicant to cover the stormwater facility maintenance of this property. We do a bunch of these all the time, okay? This is for the construction of a new home, and the agreement has been signed by the applicants. Does anyone have any questions in reference to this? Okay, seeing none, the motion is to approve the stormwater O&M agreement for 6 Marion Street and further authorize the chair to sign on behalf of the Board of Supervisors. Can I get a motion?
Also move.
Supervisor Hexter makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Supervisor Orff makes the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Next up on our agenda this evening is resolution for the treasurer's job description. Jason?
So this was a job description I drafted at the beginning of the year. This is actually what we advertised for our new treasurer. So this is just, this resolution would just memorialize what the current job duties for our township treasurer position.
What's the resolution number?
2026 R-11.
11, okay. You have a motion written up anywhere?
I move to make a resolution of the Board of Supervisors of Lower Frederick Township adopting the job description for township treasurer.
Okay, the motion is out there. I will make the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Supervisor Jarena makes the second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Okay, next up on our agenda is resolution for policy for donations and sponsorships.
Okay, so this policy aligns with the fundraising policy that was adopted at the April 7th meeting. Peter did his normal edits and updates. This policy establishes clear rules for soliciting, accepting, and managing donations and sponsorships to ensure transparency, legal compliance, and public trust. Key highlights: solicitation, only authorized individuals may solicit on behalf of the township. Donation boxes, strict controls, lockbox, two-person counting documentation, prohibited donations, no contributions shall create conflicts, influence decisions, or violate law. Use of funds must be deposited, tracked, and used for public purposes. Recognition, limited acknowledgement only, no endorsement or influence. This policy strengthens our financial controls and accountability, prevents conflicts of interest or pay-to-play concerns, and ensures consistent and transparent practices, which actually we've already started implementing this for our current stuff, so.
Okay, Peter, you went through this, correct? You have looked
Yes.
at it. Okay, so everything's in order. Does anyone have any questions or any comments?
That was my only question, if the edits were Peter's, and I think the answer is yes.
And I just also wanted to thank Katie Lewis, who helped go through my initial draft and helped make gave me some suggestions before it got into your and Peter's hands.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I just had one quick question for Peter. Could you give us an example of what would be, I read the words here about conflict of interest, but I was just kind of curious what an example of a conflict of interest would be related to a donation.
I'm not really sure.
Well, that was honest. Okay.
It was in there. I wasn't sure why it was in there.
But it
I
sounds
left it in
good.
there. There's no harm, no foul.
Okay.
Do I think you could get into a situation, a real nasty situation where someone's making contributions to the township
favor.
in exchange for favorable reviews of things and that sort of thing. So, you certainly could do it that way, but, to be honest, we don't need a policy to control that. That's controlled by state law. You don't normally see conflict of interest in this sort of policy, but like I said, I don't see any problem with it. If I had a problem with it, I would have deleted it. I didn't see a problem with it. I don't think it's very applicable, but that being said, keep it in there, so be it.
No, thanks, because I thought I just was being dense, so, okay.
No.
Thank you.
Good save, Peter. Good, no, okay. All righty, so if are there any other questions, any other comments? Not seeing.
I just have a comment. I think it's great we're coming up with policies for all of these, so there's no ambiguity.
Exactly. Okay, so the motion before us this evening is adopting Resolution 2026-R12, correct? Establishing a policy for donations and sponsorships for Lower Frederick Township. Can I get a motion?
I will make the motion.
Supervisor Jarena makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Supervisor Orff makes the second. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. The next is the resolution for policy for procurement and selling.
All right, I'll start and because you did some hardcore edits on this one. As I previously stated, this popped up on my radar when I was going through the FEMA paperwork process for Hurricane Ida and realized we didn't have a formal policy on purchasing. I did want to make a comprehensive policy to streamline our procedures for township purchasing, contracting, and asset disposal. As we know, our operations are governed by the PA Second-Class Township Code, and currently we lack a comprehensive formalized purchasing policy. This resolution establishes clear procedures to ensure legal compliance, fiscal responsibility, transparency, and accountability. Peter did update the original draft I prepared, which is what's provided to you. And then I did kind of list some of the changes and additions, but.
Did you want to go through everything that was, I don't think it's necessary. Basically, what we had originally gotten was kind of like an outline, like a little blueprint, and then Peter put all the meat into it to make it legally compliant.
So, well, I did talk to some of the members of the board who wanted a little more meat, so that's why the meat was added. Lucky for you guys, I had done a policy for another client approximately 6 months ago, so you guys saved a lot of money in me robbing them of all that work. So that's where a lot of this came from. So that's why you see it. You guys asked for it, so I added it. I think it does go, it gives a lot more background into why bidding is the way it is. And it gives a little more of almost a recipe for each of these different types of procurement, of how you actually, why you have to do it this way. And if you're going to pick this particular type of procurement, this is the way you do it.
Okay, so Jason provided us with the what, and you provided us with the how and the why.
Yes.
Okay, terrific. Does anyone have any questions?
This is extremely detailed, so I don't have any questions.
Okay. All right, so I had forwarded something to Peter that I wanted to have added in here, specifically under the bucket of co-stars. And it was a mandatory multi-quote policy with co-stars. I provided everybody on the board with the language. I provided it to Peter. He said he has no problem putting this in as long as we put in a threshold. And it looks like it already, the question was if there were not 3 co-stars, then you follow along with if there's just a sole source justification. Pretty much after seeing the process with the guys with the dump truck, we're already doing this. And it would be my suggestion that if we go forward with putting this language in, that the threshold would be that we would make this mandatory 3-quote policy for anything that has to fall under formal competitive bidding over $24,500. That would be my suggestion. Does anybody have any thoughts?
So currently, we're not required to get 3 bids from a co-star person,
No,
right?
this would be a township policy
But my
that you're
question is-
basically telling the staff this is what you want to do.
I understand the request. My question is, currently, there's no requirement to get 3 bids under co-stars or state procurement
From the township, not that I know of.
from the co-stars program.
Absolutely not.
No.
So I guess what I'd like to avoid is automatically giving people extra work when it's not, what's the reason for it? I'm just wondering, what is the justification for doing extra work when there's no requirement?
So even though CoStars doesn't legally require the township to get multiple bids, but it's probably a good idea if we do. It satisfies our legal requirements, but it doesn't compare the pricing. It just gets the ceiling price. They don't compare vendors to vendors. That's our job. We should still be compliant with that.
Yeah, they do recommend within.
Just
the
because,
co-
I mean, just
in the
because you get
wording.
one CoStar's price doesn't mean that that's going to be the best price.
Yeah, within the wording,
It's-
the co-stars, it actually recommends that even though you could technically go with that one price, they think it's a good policy or practice for townships. I'm paraphrasing here, obviously not using exact words, but to get multiple bids so that you have an understanding of where these things.
It's the
value.
difference between being legally compliant and fiduciarily responsible. And even the Pennsylvania Department of General Services suggests that you get 3 quotes.
I'm fine with replacing the words mandatory with recommended. My concern is there may be a situation where it just really isn't necessary, and this is going to hamstring us. So the board can say we want them, we can recommend it. My concern is with the mandatory, because that means every single time with every single co-stars, no matter what.
That's fair
And
enough.
That way, it's a recommendation, it's a good practice, but there may be situations where it just is overkill. And in those situations, that's kind of
Or
where I come from.
or we can raise the threshold. Instead of making it $24,500, in the case of the dump truck, that's $250,000. Yeah, I'd want to see 3 quotes. Maybe the idea is we should pick a threshold.
Yeah, we recommend getting more than one quote with co-stars, and what do you want to pick?
50,000,
I'd go higher than that, 100,000?
100,000?
And make it mandatory over 100,000.
Anyone have a suggestion on this?
I agree on that
100,000?
threshold. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd split the difference and go with 75, but that's just me.
Well, we do have inflation. It's just that, we buy things all the time and they're all expensive.
No, and I get that.
but it's-
I understand it, yeah, okay. Terry, do you have any thoughts on that? I know you do. I know you do.
Since I heard so many numbers, do you want to sit on this till the next meeting and everybody think about it? I'm just asking you. I know all about co-stars and I know how it works.
I know.
And it does work out good. And what you're saying there, I understand you, but it could hurt you by what you want to do too. Okay, it could hurt the township. So you're.
What, getting 3 quotes?
Huh?
Getting 3 quotes?
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, if you get a good deal on a co-star setup, and then all of a sudden, in your paperwork says, you gotta get 3 quotes for it, you just,
Here's the other thing about CoStars, and I think that maybe I want to make this clear, that even if we get 3 bids with CoStars, you don't have to go with the lowest bidder. You don't have to. It doesn't follow the same as the formal bidding process
I
where
know, but-
we're confined to that.
what's happening is you're reading too far into this co-stars deal is what's happening. That's what I see. Because I see a lot of, I really don't want to say too much because we do a lot of co-stars work for the state, for the government. You wouldn't believe it, how much, the prisons, the schools, they come and they get the price, they set it up, and it's a good number for them, and they go with it. They don't even mess around. And it's fast. Sometimes it could draw you out on these bids.
I
And
think,
if I'm not
Terry, what you're
right-
saying is don't let perfect be enemy of the good.
There you go. I mean.
So is there a
I'm glad
difference
you had,
between a
you know,
service
said
and a
something
product?
there of what I'm trying to get across, but I don't want to confuse you, but you know,
No, no, I'm not confused. I mean, the more input I have, the more I know, the better decision we can make.
Okay.
This is important.
but be careful with the co-stars. It really helps you a lot.
Okay.
It does.
Do we want to think about this?
Will that be the, I want to hear.
I think we should.
The other thing also, way I thought Terry was going, and maybe he was, is sometimes I see this especially with automobiles, police cars. Sometimes you get a good deal on a car, and it's the last one on the lot, you gotta strike while, if you don't get it now, if you have to go back and waste 2 weeks getting 2 other quotes, when you go back and say, yeah, we want it, it's gone. So, that's definitely, I do have clients where they get a quote via CoStars, usually it's for some piece of equipment, and they gotta buy it now. Because if they don't get it now, someone else is gonna pick it up while they, dilly-dally. So that's the other thing to kind of keep in mind here. Yeah, I like Marla's, make it a recommendation, something you strongly recommend, but not a requirement.
And have a high threshold.
And a high threshold. And the other thing you also could do, like you said, Noel, this is the ceiling price. You always can negotiate with a CoStarz
that's my
vendor.
thing, you can go
And you can
down.
say, hey, that's, we love your price, we love you, we love working with you, but, that's like 5,000 more than we think it's worth.
And I think every situation is going to be different. And I think that the difference between a service and a product, and I think that we should take it on a case-by-case basis. So maybe a recommendation is better than something mandatory with a very high threshold. Unless we want to just can this idea altogether and just move forward with what we have.
And we can keep thinking about this, we can always revise it.
True. It's just a policy.
And I see what Terry's saying is, it is a good practice to get 3 quotes, but again, if you make it mandatory, it could hamstring us.
Right. It's a suggested language, but I agree with you. Okay. All right, well, we're going to table this and we'll bring this back up at the end of June. Okay. All right, next on the agenda is the police fire requests for the borough of Schwenksville, Upper Salford, and Norristown. Schwenksville Borough, they have summer concerts at the Meadow Park on June 17th, July 15th, and August 19th. And then Schwenksville Community Day on September 19th. Upper Salford Township has the Philadelphia Folk Festival on August 13th, the Gosh and Hop and Oyster Picnic on September 12th, and the Big Bad Bonfire on October 3rd. Norristown, their 4th of July Parade and Fireworks on July 4th. And that's that. So the motion before us this evening is to authorize the use of Lower Frederick Fire Company Fire Police at the request of Schwenksville Borough, Upper Salford Township, and Norristown for their various events as listed in 2026. Can I get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Supervisor Drenna makes the motion. Is there a second?
I
I'll
will
second. Whoop,
Go ahead, Dan.
give that one to Marla.
Okay. Supervisor Orff makes the second. All of those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, motion passes unanimously. Okay, the last 2 items on our agenda, as we've stated before, are going to continue to appear until we come to an
So
end.
Noel, I did get an update from John regarding John Miklos, our planner for the VMU
Terrific.
ordinance. He said I'm design testing the revised ordinance to confirm the dimensional regulations and design requirements and outlining a proposed architectural design guidebook based on local building character, including the township's historic properties. So he
Is that
hasn't
the
given
only
me a
item he's
timeline.
working on, or he's working on everything he got input from?
Yeah, I think that, but this might be what's taking the time for him to come back with the draft and.
Okay, did he give you an anticipated time of if he can be at our June work session?
He did not, but I can follow up and ask him.
Okay. Okay, well, that's the village mixed use. Our data center and the data center uses discussed, our ordinance is already out there for advertising.
moving forward to it, and I'm looking at the July work session of when you guys will be considering it,
The work session?
the work session. I
Okay.
will not be here for your regular meeting, so I would
Okay.
like to be here for the,
Now, this still has to go to our planning commission, and it
it'll
still
be
has to
sent
go
to
to...
the planning commissions and
Okay.
yeah, all that and advertised, yes.
Okay, all right. Does anybody have any questions or comments on either of those items? Carol?
Before you move on in the agenda, I looked at PennDOT's website after you tabled the line painting issue. I found that that contractor, Alpha Space Control Company, is a PennDOT pre-qualified contractor. Knowing that, I would not be very hesitant, I would not be hesitant to go ahead and make your decisions.
Well, let's go back and vote. Okay. All right. Okay, thank you, Carol. That was very useful. Yes. This is for the line striping? Okay, so the motion before us this evening is to accept the quote from A1 for costs not to exceed $22,859.27, and further authorize the township manager to sign any paperwork necessary to complete the project. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Supervisor Sachs makes the motion. I will make the second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Carol. Done with that.
We now have time for public comments.
I'm going to state for the record, that was not unanimous.
Oh, you didn't comment whether, I'm sorry.
I still prefer to get the reviews. I trust our engineer, but I still wanted to get the reviews and get the referrals.
Oh, so you're voting no?
I'm voting no, yes.
Okay, so to revise that, the vote is 4-1. Sorry about, thank you. Okay, public comment. Ruth?
Ruth Heil, 204 Swamp Creek Road. I'm a little bit late, but I just want to publicly express my gratitude to the Lower Frederick Fire Company and the neighboring fire companies that were called to an incident on Swamp Creek Road on April 29th. There was a fire behind my neighbor's home that could have very easily become a wildfire. And the response was fantastic, and I just wanted to make sure that the fire company, however you can get that information to them, their neighbors are very much appreciative. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. We'll see if we can get that passed along to them. Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay. Seeing none, is there any supervisor comment?
I just want to thank the park board and their hardworking volunteers for the great events they put on. I mean, it's been a fabulous year so far, and I always say this, I started off on the park board. It's come a long way since then. So just keep up the good work, and for all of our boards and commissions who work really hard, thank you.
Okay. Not seeing any other comments or, okay. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.